All right, you loyal listeners. Welcome to another episode of Agency Intelligence, where I am giving you the real agency intelligence and not that artificial shit that they try to make you believe out there. I got my boy Mitch on the mic today. What up, Mitchie?
Yo. This is actually, I think, the first podcast I've done in about a year. I'm being honest.
For real? It's been that long?
Being honest.
Wow.
I'm being honest.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Also, I don't do one every week now. I do one whenever something like this is needed. I believe that, I think I felt obligated when I was the only podcast, so there was only one or two. But now that there's 792, I feel like, dude, that you guys got enough. Let's only get to the good stuff. But you've also they've been doing tech time on yours a little bit, haven't they?
Yeah. So I've had Danny Lawrence. Danny has been doing, I think it's probably maybe once a month when he gets the time, but he's been producing Talking Tech. So he's
that's what
he's been kind of like taking over that MVP podcast role for me, and he's got this Talking Tech segment where he'll interview or talk to a tech vendor and have them kind of do a little demonstration. His videos, the video podcast is better than the audio because sometimes there's actually a live demo going on within the episode.
Correct.
But yeah,
well,
thank
cool.
you, Danny.
Yeah, that's cool. And you brought that on totally yourself, so I applaud you on that. That's awesome to do that. Plus, Danny's just a stand-up guy.
Facts.
He worked for a really good company. Wonder right now he works for. I'm joking. I know you Mathesons are listening to this shit. I'm just joking, trying to go with you. Glovebox is a fantastic business. Okay, so let's get to where we're talking about. Speaking of indie, we're talking about IndieTech, which we just had. Go and take it away, Mitch. Give me your thoughts on what you feel about it.
IndieTech, in a whole, I thought it went very well. I think it went very well in a couple of different ways. One, vendors, once again, back-to-back years, had nothing but positive feedback saying that the quality of agents that were there, that were willing to, one, learn about the technology, but two, see if it made sense for their agency. They were there to buy and make a difference in their agency. So that was great to hear. Some of the attendees were, I say, majority of the attendees were first-timers, where people maybe you and I haven't even met before. So it was great to see some newer faces, coming to events like IndieTech. Speakers were outstanding, which we'll get into this later. I do have some feedback of my own on the speakers myself, on some things I like to change for the next IndieTech. But for the speakers that were there, and for some of them who Hurricane Helene, which yesterday Hurricane Milton happened, to kind of give you guys this perspective of time. But during Hurricane Helene, our whole entire women's of technology leaders of this industry panel were all stuck because of the hurricane. So there were some vendors not being able to make it, but overall speakers in the breakout sessions were great. Some of our breakout sessions, which I thought was interesting, collaborated together.
Yeah.
Agency Zoom and Patrick McBride's breakout session decided to say, hey, let's tear this wall down in the middle of this room, which they really did. Tear the wall down, and then let's do our presentation together, how an agent is using your technology. And that's the whole intention, I think, by what we wanted from the beginning was to get these vendors to find power users that use their product to go present to other independent agents about how they're using that specific product in their agency. So that was really cool to see. Eric Garcia and Ryan Hanley said they had the same exact pretty much presentation. I just think they wanted to talk together.
Dude, I heard their session was knockout. I think they both did themselves justice, but Eric could have knocked it out and Ryan could have knocked it out by himself. Ryan has this human optimized human optimized employee, human optimized. His human optimized. I don't think, in my opinion, he really has it down yet, like solid, like, hey, A to Z as an agent to kind of understand this. But I think he's really close because he gets agency owners like me thinking about that. Like, yeah, automation's important, but so is having an optimized employee as well, right? Someone who understands that a caller calling and saying, hey, I want a quote is completely different than a person coming offline and saying, hey, I want a quote. Those are two different types of sales scenarios. And it's having that human optimized that's able to be in both and also use the automation and all that. To me, being an actual agency owner and listening to that, I think that it's really good to be what's said. But I think also trying to get sometimes I'm just going to say it, American workers to take that human optimization. I think they're definitely out there, but I'd also say 20% of them probably are. 80% of them really don't really want to conform to that right now. And maybe not necessarily the younger generation coming up will think that way, but a lot of people, I'm in my 40s, so I'm speaking, a lot of people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, they're just like, yeah, human optimized, whatever. But it's those little bitty things that I think are going to be the great separators on to slowly starting to separate agencies. But hold on. So let's get back to this. The other one was Vertifor and Patrick McBride. I cannot think of the guy's Vertifor's name that was there. He had a unique name, and I apologize. I butchered it if I remembered it. But they combined because a lot of what Patrick was going to talk about was kind of what it's talking about, which I thought was cool here because once again, you had the company and the agent. And as I use, and I've said from the stage up there, Mitch, I said, hey, this is a great show to go to or a great class to go to because you can't blame the other, right? The agent can't blame the company and the company can't blame the agent because they're both right there, So I thought that was great. Let me do a little overview here. So we started on Tuesday morning, which would have been the 24th. All day Tuesday was not IndieTech. It was Mavs Day. So the Mavericks, the Insurance Mavericks, who are a great group out there, have come about, and they have really been a force. I really like them. They're trying to stay smaller and yet more nimble, and I really think that's great. So for you loyal listeners listening to you, and Mitch and I went out to go get we had it at the Indiana Convention Center. We needed this room and and so we needed these other 6 rooms to have these classes in, but we just needed them for Wednesday and Thursday. And the convention center said, hey, you can have them for Tuesday if you want to. So that's where Mitch and I kind of scratched our head and was like, well, where can we be giving here? Who wants to have a meeting that deserves it and stuff? Our first thoughts were Mavericks. So we called up Teresa Kitchens, called up Lisa Hengel. All those shouldn't leave anybody out because it's a board of 5 women that run that. And they said, yeah, this sounds great. And so, Mitch, I don't know. I'm just gonna tell you, I felt a little good down here, right? Knowing that like other people who want to come together and meet, but you and I running these events understand how freaking hard it is, and you need a huge team to do it. I loved the fact that we were able to give that and allow them to have their own thing without having the whole lifting of doing of the conference itself. I think that was huge. What do you think about that, Mitchie, Tuesday?
Well, that makes me think of an idea that, and I think this is probably everyone's favorite. I hope this is everybody's favorite idea. Having groups like that, only make the whole conference better.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I think it would, in a perfect world, to only have 2 conferences or 3 conferences to go to a year would be phenomenal as well, right? And the reason I say 2 or 3 is you're going to have your carrier or your big management system conferences, Applied, Hawksoft, Vertifor. You're going to have usually one for your local association that you're a part of.
Yeah.
And then 3, one of your choice. The reason why I say the third one being one of your choice is imagine a world where like all of the conferences were at one place at one time throughout a week. Because I think the power of people bringing everybody together, one, makes us all better, but also the collaboration and reap of reward for everybody is so much higher. And guess what? You don't have to travel all over the place to find 17 different conferences. So I love seeing some of these groups that are formulating, or smaller groups formulating, and want to collaborate with an IndieTech conference that we could potentially down the road have 3 or 4 of those types of groups, because that one might be specific to agency owners. Well, you can't leave out the other people that may want to learn that are part of your agency. So maybe there's one for CSRs. Maybe there's one for account managers, whatever that is. I think dreaming of that idea really is what I would love to strive for at some point. Bringing everybody together into one place and being able to go to what those events are that based off of your title and your job career.
I agree. I agree, and we'll talk about that for what the next Indie Tech looks like, because we're going to have some ideas. Exactly what you hit on there, Mitch. You got loyal listeners. He kind of let a little bit out there of what we're kind of thinking for the future. So then that Tuesday night, we had an event by Trufla, which actually this was Mitch who was in charge of running this specifically. I didn't know much about it, but holy shit, Mitch. That was one of the best events we've ever done at a freaking. I mean, I was surprised. I mean, that place was packed. I mean, truthfully, was straight dishing out the money because we were drinking and eating like it was going out of style. What do you think, dude? I thought Tuesday night was a great way to start Indie Tech off.
That was my favorite night in general. Trufla reached out to me. Sharif at Trufla reached out and was like, hey, we're wanting to do some type of collaborative event with Indie Tech, and we just want to invite users. So I said, well, last year we had Young Agents Night out at this Punch Bowl Social, perfect place, has some games, environment's open, food is actually really good, and it can hold quite a bit of people. And he threw a budget number out and said, I'm going to do this. And I said, look, I'll help. Let's market this together. So we marketed that together, and to be able to bring, I think, I'm going to be honest with you, I think there was over like 250 people that ended up showing up. And the reason why I laugh about that, because I think 50 of them weren't even part of the event.
And it was more than it was more than we told Sharif we were going to have too.
You're right. It was like, man, I saw one guy go through the buffet line and he had a totally different conference name tag on. I'm not making that up either, Cass. I'm serious, but it was great to have to see everybody that came in. That was the night of the first night there for the Mavericks Day. That was that night on Tuesday. So it's cool to see agents that are coming for Indie Tech the next day for the conference itself that were out and about and shaking hands and networking with a lot of people. So it wasn't just a certain group of people. There was vendors there, and that was kind of cool too. You don't usually see an event like that exclusive to just agents only. There was vendors there too that were invited by Truthful, and I think that was cool.
And we even tell at Indie Tech, if you're a vendor, you're allowed to go to the sessions. Mitch and I don't play by these stupid rules, loyal listeners, where, oh, you're a vendor. You can't go here. You can't go there. Listen, we're all in this damn thing together. I can't write business without their tech. They can't make tech without me writing business. I mean, we're all in this together. All of a sudden, we try to separate it. Not only that, it's the vendors who are paying for the damn thing. I mean, it was $99 for everybody to get in. Shit, I can't afford to do anything at $99.
Right.
Once again, thank you, Sharif.
Exactly.
And one thing I want to say real quick, Mitch, you mentioned it. We didn't reach out to Sharif. He reached out to us. That was him coming to us and saying, guys, I want to spend some money on these agents. Good for you, Sharif. Thank you very much. So Wednesday morning, we woke up, not totally hungover. Some of us were, depending on how late you stayed out. Jason, the responsible one, only because, hey, I'm helping run this show. And Mitch, we were like, shit, we got to keep it as a normal night. As normal as we could. Let's just put it that way. But anyways, we felt good in the morning. And then Wednesday morning, we got going with actually IndieTech. And I really, really am proud of everything that we really kicked it off with. My whole thing, Mitch, is that when my part in bringing this together was I always wanted us to be together. I love bringing people together. It's one of my funnest things I love to do. And IndieTech, the first one, I got up there and just gave act. So continuing on with Wednesday, Mitch, I was really, really glad the way that we kind of ran this whole thing and got it going because, I mean, at the first Indie Tech, I love bringing people together. That's like my thing, right? I love bringing people together. And I really on stage really beat up ACT, Agents Council for Technology, which is ran by Chris Klein and is a part of the Big I. A lot of, if loyal listeners, if you don't know, a lot of the things that happen in the industry technology-wise, it usually runs through ACT. Not everything, and the world is changing, but that's the way that it's been done in the past. And maybe if you're going to be unfair to them sometimes, like I can be, sometimes I think it slows our growth in our industry. I think we need to get it out of that bottleneck. But I'm not the kind of person that says that and doesn't back it up. Who was my first speaker this year? Our first speaker, Mitch, was Chris Klein from ACT, because I want agents to know that it's just not Indie Tech that's going to make the changes. It's got to be multiple different groups who have their finger on the technology button, right? And that's where we brought them in. And then what did we do after that? Then we went right into Michael Esposito, which I think he did a fantastic job. He even had a little session afterwards that was fantastic. And then we had all these session speakers, and we won't go through all those, but that really, really, really was cool. Then we opened up the tech show. Then we went back to classes, and then from 4:30 to 6, we had a little. We opened the tech show, and then IPFS/and Done, same company but two different products. They had two bartenders come into the tech show, and we sat in there and drank for an hour and a half, 2 hours. The vendors loved that, Mitch. That's something we are doing again next year because, dude, the vendors loved that shit. They said they really got a lot of say. So anything else that caught your brain on your thoughts on Wednesday?
Yeah, no, I think too, something that really is cool and that we're sorting through them right now is that you didn't even know this. We recorded every single session, every single main stage speaker, and got a lot of really, really good content from all the events, even Mavericks Day. So we're going to be taking that, putting those together and being able to share those out to the mastermind members for you guys here before too long, just so that if you did make it to IndieTech, and you want to rewatch any of that stuff or any of those video sessions, or you can't be in 3 at one, and we don't have 3 robots to go sit in those classes for you. So we'll share those out to you if you want to rewatch them and recap on those events. So a lot of really good content that we can be able to use and hopefully put into some educational learning for you guys as well. So yeah, that's
you've got a great part. Yeah, sorry. You've got a great partner in what you're doing. And when Mitch and I are putting on something so big like IndieTech, there's too many things to think of. And I didn't even think, Mitch, until Wednesday morning, somebody said, "Hey, I can't be in that session and I want to be, but I got to go to this one. Are these being recorded?" You know what I said? I was like, "No, they're not being recorded," because I didn't know. But when you have a great partner in an event like you, Mitch, you're like, "Cass, like we're doing all of them." And then even after the event, I'm like, "Mitch, did we really get all the sessions?" And you're like, "Yeah." And loyal listeners, when you're putting something together, be sure to find a Mitch. If you're putting something together, be sure to find a Jason Cass that can do their own things, but yet it totally brought it together. So just kudos to you on that. Kudos to you on that, Mitch. That was unbelievable. I couldn't even believe that shit.
Yeah, kudos to you for getting for letting me have with my bad tech habits of purchasing bad technology, my bad habits. It was cool to have you say, "Hey, yeah, go buy some GoPros and do whatever you want." So I appreciate you giving it or letting me use that bad habit as an excuse.
That was true. And yeah, I'd have to say, Mitch and Daniel, who is our director of technology, who answers to Mitch on the virtual intelligence side, was actually there helping as well. And how great is Daniel at doing some of that stuff? We always know Daniel's so talented in everything he does, but man, God, he's nails. Anyways, that's just what you get when you get a VE out of Columbia, right? He's not a VE specifically, but he's the type of people that VEs are. So it's fantastic. Now on Thursday, that was, I'm just going to say it, loyal listeners. Now it's probably going to beeps because Reza will beep it. But that was clusterfuck day. Okay, now here's the deal. Like everybody at the event thought it just went off smooth and unbelievably. They don't see the gray hairs that Mitch and I had on Wednesday Wednesday afternoon when we realized that our whole morning. So Mitch and I had planned that the morning was going to be the morning of the women. Okay. We had a video made. We were going to have Margot Giles. She was doing this big presentation. Then we had these 4 CEOs that were coming in, women CEOs that were phenomenal CEOs from inside and outside the industry. I was more excited to see them than anybody. And this thing called Hurricane, what was it, Helene? Hurricane Helene, right? Yeah, I think it's Hurricane Helene came through and absolutely devastated the whole thing. So Mitch and I had to hurry up and quickly try to fill the spots. And I think we knocked it out of the park because we got Mariah Gates, who came up there. And then we also got Landry Fields, which was an agent. Now, I want to stop here and say this. I want to give such kudos to them doing this. It is hard to find a speaker that can come up with a presentation in less than a day and actually go up there and give it in a room full of 300 people. That's a tough thing to do. That's hard to find somebody to do that who has months of experience or was waiting for a month, right? But they did it. And then, and Mariah went up there and just poured her soul out. Like, because she couldn't talk about her company, right? I told her, I said, you can talk about anything, but you're up there listening. People don't want to hear all about how awesome you are at this point in time. They want to hear that in your session, right? And so she went up there and she just talked about her life and talked about how she got to where she was and how she's with the automation company that she's created. And I just got to tell you, I had so many people go, wow, that was unbelievable. I don't know how Margot would have done better. I'm not saying she would have, but I'm telling you what, Margot's got a unique mind as well, just as good as Mariah. And I thought she was fantastic. And then we went right into Landry Fields, who he just blew fucking people's minds. I mean, the stuff he's doing inside of an agency, I didn't even know he could do. And I have one of the smartest tech people right here. This just shows that you just can't think of everything, right? That's why you got to and see this shit.
And he's a CATS, cats. Kentucky Wildcats fan, baby. Kentucky Wildcats. He played football at Kentucky, I believe, or something like that. I can't remember.
Holy
I think
cow.
he did. Don't fact check me on that.
Landry, that's okay. I mean, today you don't have to tell the truth. You just say whatever you want. Like that, Biden creates hurricanes and all kinds of shit. Just say it. As crazy as it sounds, it's okay in today's world. Fucking loonies. So anyways, now the thing is that I think you're right. Landry, people don't know, like he's a pastor, like he speaks, like he's that's why I knew Landry. See, I know people personally from this long history I've had in this industry, and Mariah, boom, knew she would be able to do it. I didn't know if she'd do it, but I knew she'd be able to do it. And then Landry, I knew his session. He said to me, Cass, I can do this, but I can't do the session, right? So boom, got that. We ended up solving our problems. Went on to afternoon, and then we closed it out, which Mitchie was on, was the Chief Leaders of Technology panel, where we had some straight studs on there, which was moderated by Reed Holsworth. You were up there. Tell me what you think about that.
Yeah, in a whole, I liked it. The questions were, I think, really, really good. From all the way from where do you see technology being used in 5-10 years from now? Kind of what new stuff's being out there. What are we doing? It was unique because we had a Vertifor, Jace Hopper, Vice President of Product at Vertifor, and then Matthew Vega Sans from Gale. That dude really, really, he was one of those that when he started talking, he's real soft spoken, right? He actually had like hold the mic up to his mouth like a little bit closer, but he's so soft spoken that you kind of listen to him for a second, then you go, "Damn, this guy's really smart." Like,
dude, he's so smart.
Really, really smart, right?
So smart, doesn't know how to communicate correctly, I don't think sometimes. And I mean that positively. He's that smart. We've all met those type of people. He's one of those.
Yeah, and then Cody White from Roush Insurance, insurance brokerage. That dude, I'm going to be honest with you, he shocked me a little bit. I think he took the stage and ran with it, I must say, and I think he did a great job. It's hard to do that, first off. I don't think people understand how tough it is to get on a stage with guys of that nature, and him just kind of rule the stage. I feel a little bit bad for Jace a little bit because I feel like Jace didn't get to talk as much, but we had a lot of really, really good conversations, and having Reed as a moderator, that dude always kills it. Anything he does on the stage, and he's very really just chilled and relaxed and gives you a good environment to debate and collaborate on. So I thought it looked good, but from the stands, I couldn't told you I had a good fan club of like 4 people, so that was kind of cool. Heard them cheering for me.
You got to start somewhere.
That's exactly right.
4's better than 1, 2, or 3.
That's right.
Right. And the thing about Reed is, I mean, do you talk to anybody who doesn't like the guy? No. If you don't like Reed, you've got some personal issue with him that, hey, I get it. But like outside of that, everybody loves the guy. And why? This is so much important. He's real. He says it all the time. I don't give a shit. He does give a shit because he'll tell you that. But like, if you're going to ask him a question, he's going to give you an honest answer. And boy, we don't get a lot of that today. Don't get a lot of that today. So, man, Reed just does a great job. Not only that, I mean, he was great to hang out with the night before. He went to dinner with us. He's just so personable. And I think sometimes people think that those high echelon people like Reed don't want to talk and don't want to hang out. And it's probably pretty true a lot of times. But Reed's not like that. He's a fantastic guy. I appreciate him. Reed, if you're listening to this, thank you very much for what you did. All right, so now where are we going with this? First of all, I want to let you guys know that Mitch and I we're gonna do 3, okay? And we were at Ivan's Connect back in
22.
2022 that we realized that because Ivan's Connect is in conjunction, loyal listeners, with Applied. And so when we were there at Ivan's Connect and Applied, we were like, holy crap, this is so awesome. Vertafore does their thing. Hawksoft does their thing. But what about the companies, or what about the agents that maybe utilize these AMSs or other AMSs, but they use products that those companies don't specifically endorse? Where's that at? As we say, loyal listeners, Mitch and I say, where's Switzerland? Right? Where's the neutral zone where it's like, hey, we're not here to hurt anybody's feelings, but Applied isn't any better than anybody else. We're all in this together, right? And that's what created it. Now, I think Mitch and I were, I got to be honest with you, we weren't drinking. It was the middle of the day. I'm just saying, because it was a little bit of a crazy idea. And I even had to go back to Travis and be like, hey, Travis, because for everybody that doesn't know, Travis is my business partner at TIA. I'd be like, hey, dude, I'm getting ready to take on this thing that's going to take some of my time, and it may just bomb out, and I don't know what the hell I'm doing, right? And so he supported it. But Mitch, having you there the whole time, me being there with you, I think it's important, and I want to state this before we talk about 2026. So many people reached out to me and thanked me for creating this event. So many people tagged me in posts. And if you were one of those people, I want to thank you for that. But I want to also set the record straight. Jason Cass did not come up with this event. Mitch Gibson and Jason Cass together came up with this event. So it's very, very important. I know you guys may say, hey, that's splitting hairs. I actually took a vacation the week after IndieTech for 4 days. Me and my wife celebrated our anniversary. And as I read through those messages in this text, it made me feel bad, and it made me kind of not realize, because Mitch, you're not out there like I am. I'm on the stage, but you're the dude behind there making sure everybody's getting the video and making sure everything is correct. And it's like sometimes I don't think that they see you, but this is a 50-50 project. There's no doubt about that. Anything to say to that?
I appreciate that, and I'm humbled to hear that, and to think where not only our relationship but our kind of minds are thinking as we look to continue to grow as individuals as well. I don't ever care for a hey, congrats. I don't. That stuff doesn't make me thrive. I spark by the seam of my own spark plug. I don't need someone else to help motivate me or give me accolades. I just feel like I do things for giving back and to I love people. I just love freaking being around people. You know this, and if I can help make something happen and get people together in one place and we can make a difference, that's what makes it for me. So I appreciate that shout out. I appreciate you acknowledging that and bringing that to everybody's attention. But what do you say? I do it for you or something. So you've got some little saying of why you do
because I do it for you. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me your ideas. I'm going to make the world happen, dude. Okay, so here's the deal. I want to say this. So January 2026 is when I have announced that we are going to be having IndieTech. It might be the first week of February. And the only reason I'm saying that is the third week, the fourth week of January, and the first week of February. And guys, this is all brand new information. Mitch doesn't even know because I'm the one taking care of the hotel. That third week of January, fourth week of January, or that first week of February, it's going to be one of those three, and it's looking like it might be that first week of February for many, many different reasons. We like to have our event on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday because it's in the middle of the week, gives you time to fly out, gives you time to get back home and get with your family. Very, very hard during that time, even though it's in 2026. So I'm kind of maneuvering that. We do have the second or the fourth week would be open Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, but I can't get that Thursday and Friday, Mitch, for those others. But the first week in February, just nothing more than another week away, we can get those. So that's where I'm talking right now. But Fort Lauderdale, why are we doing this? First of all, we have to get it out of the spring and the fall, loyal listeners. We have to get it. There's so many events going on in the spring and fall that this is not me and Mitch's idea. This is other agents who are saying, Cass, this is the second year in a row I can't make it because I have to go to my state conference or I have to go to, as you said, the other AMS thing, their AMS. And I mean, let's be honest. We all have kids. We all have families. We all have jobs. We can't be gone all the time. So, excuse me. That's why we're going to take it to the fall, or take it to the winter. I believe that that was one of the huge successes of IAOA, is they had it in January. This is just cast. This doesn't mean anything, but I think you started to see some of the decline in the attendance once they went to the fall. Had nothing to do with how great the conference was. It's just people are busy, you know? So Mitch and I have learned from that, and we're bringing this sucker into the winter. Now, the only bad part of having it in the winter, and this is the reason why IAOA eventually moved, was you have to be in the South. No one goes to Chicago in February for a freaking conference, right? That's not happening. But everybody and their brother will go to Fort Lauderdale. Everybody and their brother will go to Austin, Texas, right? So that's kind of our motivation for this. Mitchie, any thoughts you have on that?
No, I think it's great. I want everybody to understand that they can give us any feedback. We want feedback,
Yes.
positive or
Yes.
negative. Even
Yeah.
as much as Jason and Mitch, you guys are the biggest pieces of shit for not having cookies and fucking Coca-Cola and coffee out in the back of the room. I'm sorry. That's one thing that I really am losing sleep about, is understanding that Cass, how do we not have
We should have had
some coffee
now.
or water and juice? I know, guys. We apologize. That's where we dropped the ball on a couple of things. The name tags. You know, we're not.
Guys, we're on a limited budget here, Mitch. Mitch, we're on a limited budget here, okay? All right. Our budget was better this year than it was last year, and I think our new budget will be better. But yes, the one thing I messed up on, thank you for bringing that up, loyal listeners, I didn't have coffee in the morning. Not for me. I didn't have coffee out there. And so people came on Wednesday like, Cass, where's the coffee? I'm like, oh, no, because they were selling it right down the road, you know, and it was $99 to come. I mean, I didn't afford the coffee. I would have got the coffee, though. I didn't think about it. Now, on Thursday, it wasn't as bad because, like everybody said, well, now that I know there's not coffee, I just brought my own. And I was like, okay, well, maybe we should do better communication. But, yes, that's what I want to do. But here's what I want to say here, Mitchie. In a perfect world, I'd love to have, you and I have talked about this. So loyal listeners, this is Mitch and I talking about something we already know. I'd love to have something called IndieCon, right? IndieCon where it's just not, IndieTech is the pillar, but AI Mastermind Champions, they have their meeting. The Mavericks, they have their meeting. Any other little Facebook group or LinkedIn group or group that's out there, maybe they want to get together. Maybe they're 10 people, maybe they're 150 people, and they want to get together. They're not going to be able to put on their own event, but it's easy for us to be able to say, hey, let's get a couple extra rooms and let's put them in that room, right? Once again, it's all about getting people together. And yes, that feeds into IndieTech, but I think it does two things. It allows us to scratch our back and they scratch ours. Hey, we're going to come to IndieTech, but at the same time, we're going to be able to help them out. I'm not saying, loyal listeners, that's what we're doing. This is just kind of in my brain as something that we could do in the future. Also, I'd like to maybe have IndieCon, maybe bring in sales, maybe bring in service, maybe bring in leadership, other things like that.
Tech.
Yeah, IndieTech. Yeah. But we bring
out more specific technology breakout, you know, demo hands-on stuff. That's
Correct.
what I had some feedback. People like, hey, I wish that Agency Zoom had a table set up or a designated section where if they had users that were having problems, that they could go see a technician.
Ooh, Mitchie, you didn't tell me that. Make sure that gets into the agenda on the notes for our meeting. Oh, that's good. That's good. Vertifor does that and Applied do that, where they have like that session, that area that you can go if you have a problem with your thing. Ooh, that's good. You know, the other thing I was thinking about, Mitchie, is I'd like to build something, right? Like, let's get like a bunch of smart people together and like have like a 24-hour competition to where we build something. And like you have different teams competing to try to build it out. Like we give them an example. We say, hey, we want you to build this. And that's all we give them. They split into teams and then they work throughout the conference on their own time to build whatever that is. And then we bring it to the main stage and say, okay, we want them to build this. And here's the 4 prototypes that we got. You know, this isn't me coming up with this. This is shit they do in other ones. I just don't know how we would do that, you know?
I like that. Say, hey, here's the vendors that are going to be at IndieTech, and you've got 2 days to put together the most badass marketing drip campaigns or whatever it is.
Whatever it be.
And
like, who could build the best bot? There'd be a good one. Who could build the best bot? We want you to build a bot for an agency and give them just those basic stuff, right? And then allow agents to go build the bot, and then we bring it up, and then we pick the winner, and we give away. Let's make sure we get that on there too.
Ooh.
We're gonna have to take this transcription.
Ideas like that. We're an open book. I think
We're
it's
an
kind of what
open
we're
book.
saying. Hit us up. Let us know what
Yeah.
you guys think.
We're here to
If
have
we
fun.
change.
So it's going to be a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Tuesday will be AI. As of right now, AI champions will be meeting. That's what we're going to have. So here's what we're doing. So you guys know, we're not having a brain share in 2025. We're not having an IndieTech in 2025. We are having an IndieTech and brain share in 2026 in January/February is when we're going to have that. So that would be brain share would be the first day and a half would be just brain share, AI members only. That's just how we do it, just like it's a brain share. We will probably open it up to some other people, but we'll do that. And then that Wednesday and Thursday would be the tech show. And we'll be doing some things like that. Very similar to what we did. And I'm going to invite the Mavericks again. If they want to have their own thing, once again, slowly starts to build out some of the things that I think is the vision that you and I have. But we've got some exciting things planned in the ideas, just not only the ideas we've mentioned here, but other things that we've written down to make it a more better experience. And then not only that, we're going to be on the beach in Fort Lauderdale. Get out of here.
Strawberry daiquiri, please.
Ooh, yeah, that's how those.
Que dos más, señorita. Hey, we can't go this whole podcast without saving the best for last.
Oh shit, what we got?
The best for last is Voice of God. We can't thank James Jenkins enough for his help, his contributions to helping with some of the video. This dude brought his own drone, and we have now our own drone videos that we don't feel like we're being trademarked and going to get in trouble for whatever we've got. We've got some really cool stuff that he's done, and his voice introductions for every main stage speaker and breakout sessions were phenomenal. People loved that. They thought that was a really nice professional touch to it, and made it a nice cherry on top for everybody.
He calls me up. He says, I didn't even know he was bringing his drone, Mitch. A week before, he calls me up. He says, hey, Cass. Hey, Cass. You know how he does with his voice. He said, I want to let you know I just got clearance from the FAA to be able to fly in Indianapolis, Indiana. I just lost it like you did. I said, James, this is totally James fucking Jenkins right here. You know, he went and got FAA clearance is what he told me. So we could fly. And so then I told him, I said, what are we going to do about Fort Lauderdale? He's like, well, I'll check out my FAA maps. He says, Miami's airport is kind of on the coast, so you can't fly there. But Fort Lauderdale's a little bit in town. You know, I mean, this dude is like, he's on his shit, you know? Oh, my God. Thank you very much, Mitch, for us getting out here and not saying that. James Jenkins, thank you very much. He even brought his podcasting equipment. So I mean, this dude, he's pre-recording everybody going onto the stage. Anytime you hear that voice over the speakers, that's what Mitch was saying when he means voice of God. That's the voice. He pre-recorded all this stuff, brought it all. Also, if you remember on Wednesday morning, whenever we had the mix-up with the hurricane and we had to get new people, he had to do those live. Did all of them. James Jenkins, thank you very much. That was totally by accident. And I saw what he did at Vertifor. Last year at Vertifor, he did a very similar thing and knocked it out of the park. If you're thinking about having an event, that's somebody you might want to reach out to is James Jenkins that had to do the voice of God. He does a really, really good job, and his voice is just sexy.
It is. And the VOG, that's so fun because it's like when you hear speakers coming over, you know, from the ceiling, and you're like, is that Morgan Freeman? No, it's just James Jenkins. You know, that's what we mean by that.
That is totally true, Mitchie. Let's go ahead. We were going to talk about some other things like the future of where we think insurance is going. I try to keep these between 20 to 30 minutes, no long. So we're just going to cut it off, and we can do another one at another time on that, Mitch. But wrapping it up, is there anything else that you kind of want to sit and talk about?
No. The only thing I think to bring up is. I am working on a project. You don't even know this as well. I'm working on a project with Daniel to help facilitate, create, and build technology training videos for our loyal listeners. Whether or not Jason wants to withhold those from the public and make them for mastermind members only, I don't know, but I think it might be worth the $99 a month. I'm not trying to sell anything by doing that, but trying to provide you guys with value of just overall how to connect agency Zoom with risk advice. I mean, just small things that you know, you don't have to go pay thousands and thousands of dollars to a consultant to get this stuff done. It can be done at a very cheaper rate. And it's by finding somebody in your office to train and develop into that person and be your human optimization specialist in your agency. So producing some content to some how-tos and Microsoft intranet, etc. Those tips and tricks would be very, very helpful for everybody. As upon request, we've had about 10 people ask us for videos and trainings. I think it's time we give them something. So be on the lookout. That's all I got.
That's right. That's right. Thank you, Mitch, very much. Loyal listeners, there's a reason why I've been watching Mitch for 2 or 3 years. Very, very impressed with him. Hired him at the Insurance Alliance back in October. Actually, like, wow, this is like a year and 10 days. Like, it was like October 1st or some shit like that, wasn't it? Yeah. Yep. So I think the team, yeah. Okay. So the October 1st. So it's been a year, but since then he's actually become also our CTO of virtual intelligence, and he's actually now had to hire an assistant so that we can have somebody still working with Tia. But the fact is that he's built out our SharePoint. He's done fabulous things. He's going to give out some free videos, but at the same time, guys, I'm not even going to lie to you. He does have a side thing that he would never tell you about, but for some of our virtual employee customers, he helps them build out their automation and things for a cost. But if you're a loyal listener, make sure you reach out to Mitch. Mitch doesn't have much time, but if you're really wanting to get some some serious consulting time, then you might want to really try to look at him. When it comes to building out SharePoint, I'm just going to tell you, he's built out the SharePoint of agency intelligence. He built out the SharePoint of the Insurance Alliance. He built out the SharePoint of virtual intelligence. And when you see it, I guarantee you there might be some out there that are better. But it's only because Mitch has been doing it for 5, 6, 7 months is the reason why it's not as good as theirs, because what he's built has been incredible as far as being that intranet that is inside of our agency. So he's done a fantastic job. Mitch, you really, truly have. You knocked it out of the park. I just needed someone to help me with my tech on Tia, and you have just taken it to another level. I was the one, loyal listeners, that put him on the chief leaders of technology. He didn't want to go because he didn't feel as if he needed to, because he does have an ego, but he keeps it in check. And I said, no, Mitch, this is you, brother. Like, we want the 5 geniuses that we know up there. You've got to be one of those. And he took it, did really, really well. And I have to say the same thing with you, Mitch, is that when you spoke, people really listened. When you get off this podcast, you call Travis and ask him if I didn't say this. We were sitting in the back. We weren't sitting in the back. We were standing in the back behind the tables. And as you were talking, and this is what I said to him. I know it's egotistical, but as I said, I reached over to Travis and I whispered in his ear. I said, you see when Mitch talks, how people pay attention. It's like other people are talking and it's cool. They did a good job. But when you start talking, people start paying attention. And I told him, I said, I know it and I can see it because I have that. I know, so I can tell when I start talking, people pay a little more attention than the other people around. And that's a unique thing. That just doesn't come because think about this, Mitch. Most people in that room, or some of them, may not have known who you were at all. They never met you, but they could tell by the way that you were on there with your confidence. You have the experience. You have done it. And if you haven't done it, you know the resources that you can get to do it. And so I think that just comes off. That's something that you can't hide. It's really not something that you can even make better. You just got to keep doing what you're doing, and you're doing so many fantastic things.
Well, I think I appreciate that. A year ago, I don't feel that way, and I think that shows the true of like growth as a human, as a professional. I think jumping into things scared is good for you, and it makes you being uncomfortable with being uncomfortable is important. But when you actually start learning something, and you feel confident, and you get a little bit of charisma to you, then you really feel like you can make an impact. And I feel like there's time and patience to be there, and I felt confident enough to do it. And why? Because we're doing this shit. We're doing this, right? And that's my cockiness part of it. We're doing this shit in real time. It's happening in our agency. You guys can too. You just gotta do it.
Right. Do it. See, that's when it's hard, is when you got to get up there and bullshit. But all you're doing is just going up there and saying, well, here's what I've done with these 3 companies. You know, it seems to work there. Besides all the other agencies that you do, how many agencies right now are you doing consulting for on the side?
We've got finished up 3. We got another one yesterday, and that one actually just wants to help with an Easy Links pipeline with Risk Advisor and Gaia. and they actually won a couple hours for Microsoft SharePoint, setting up the intranet there for them. So those are fun. Those are the things that get me up and going and excited to work.
And he does that through virtual intelligence, everybody. And if you're watching the YouTube version, it's that right there. He does that through virtual intelligence because a lot of people who come to get us virtual employees, not only that, we also have technology of Risk Advisor, Gaia, Gale. Do we have another one?
That's it for now.
Okay, for now. So we have these technologies that we then train the VE to use to put into your office, and then the VE helps train all your other employees. So now, not only are you taking boring tasks off of people who shouldn't be doing them, like your licensed people, but now you're also bringing technology into your office, which is something you sit around and wonder every day how the hell you're going to make that happen. We take away both of those. Now, some of those people come to us and say, Mitch, this is so good. Let's take this further. And that's the consulting that he's been talking about. So, Mitch, kudos to you. Thanks very much for doing this. Hey, everybody out there, we are going to be sending out a link very soon that's going to be to where you can sign up and you can get information. We're going to be releasing information, these videos that he's talking about, that he's got, these session videos. We're going to be releasing that. So how do you get that first? Whenever we send out the link, be sure to fill out your information, and you'll get everything up to date on the IndieTech 2026 that's coming up, and you guys can be there. We had 120 licensed people our first year. We had 280-ish, I would say 83, we'll just say 280 licensed people there this year. Think about that. For a second year event, we doubled that. Our goal, we're not trying to get to 1,000. We just want to double it again. That we feel as if there's that need, we feel it's doing it at that time of the year is going to allow more people to be able to concentrate on the technology. All right?
Yep.
Mitch, thanks very much.
Go tell a friend, and bring a friend. That's it.
That's right.
Bring somebody next year, we'll double it.
And if you want, you can tell us your thoughts, and tell us your ideas, and we'll tell the world what you have to say. This has been Cass. This has been Mitch. We're out.